you've changed things. Forever. To them, you're just a freak. Like me.
Truth is, I am Iron Man.
Before time began, there was the Cube.
Are you telling me that you built a time machine out of a DeLorean?
I do believe they think I am some sort of god.
I'll be back.
All right, welcome to our California trip. We're not exactly sure where we are, but we're gonna ask some people around. Oh! Starting in Hollywood, we visited the places that California is known for. Movies and movie stars.
Action! Hollywood. That's Hooray Valley, Hooray Hollywood.
The El Capitan, the Walk of Fame, and the Chinese Theater are highlights of Hollywood Boulevard. But for a bird's eye view, Griffith Observatory will take your breath away. We stopped by the house from The Nightmare on Elm Street. It hasn't changed very much since the movie. To our surprise, the address is still 1428. We also made a stop at the house from Halloween, located in South Pasadena at the corner of Meridian Avenue and Mission Street. If you can believe it, it's now a doctor's office. Now that's creepy. Our first stop was Warner Brothers Studios. The water tower is tall enough to be seen across the whole lot. Remember who lives inside?
It's time for Animaniacs.
Getting a tour of the WB property was something every kid got to see on TV in the 90s. It's actually pretty accurate to what they would show. Our tour guide started off by showing us the prop department, where they make the Oscar statues for the Academy Awards. We even got to see one up close. Here's Morpheus's chair from The Matrix. And here's the set from Friends. They even let us snap a few photos on the couch. My favorite section of the Warner Brothers tour would definitely have to be the Batman exhibit, celebrating 75 years. We got to see the costumes from all the films. Having each of the cowls displayed next to each other really showed the subtle differences. Gadgets and models were also on display. My favorite Batman will always be Michael Keaton. I remember when I found out just how short he really was.
May I take your cape, sir?
This clip showed me that anyone can be Batman, even if you're short.
Another Hollywood illusion shattered.
Possibly even better than seeing the costumes was seeing the vehicles. You don't realize the size of the cars until you're standing right next to one. You can definitely see the different styles of each director, especially when comparing the cars. And not just the cars, there's a boat, a bat pod, but most of the time, the Dark Knight rode on 4 wheels. And when it comes to villains, Batman has the best. Most superheroes have one good one, but this room had 10. All of the costumes displayed were from each of the films, starting with Tim Burton's 1989 Batman and ending with Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight Rises. The prop department is given the task of finding the right clothing pieces to fit with the art department's vision. The end result takes the comic and brings it to life. The memorial statue from The Dark Knight Rises was a fitting conclusion to end the tour. If you're not able to make a trip to visit Warner Brothers Studios, then pick up a copy of Pee-wee's Big Adventure. This whole sequence was shot on the lot and shows a lot of the places that Suzanne and I got to see. The movie's hilarious. Our next tour was Sony Pictures Studios. This was right before it got hacked, but I'm not getting into that. Our tour guide was much better than the one on the WB tour. Previously, Columbia Pictures, Sony purchased the studio and has been making movies ever since. Check out Stage 15. It's where The Wizard of Oz was shot. Suzanne got to see where they shoot Jeopardy, one of her favorite shows. I think if she ever got picked to be a contestant, she would do pretty well. The stage itself is pretty dark without the lights. It shows just how important good lighting is. Above all, the thing I was most excited to see the Ecto-1. I've wanted to see this in person my whole life. Definitely a dream come true. And in the lobby, displayed in a glass case, was a proton pack used in the film. It's taken some damage over the years, but it's still holding together pretty well. These were designed and built by Stephen Dane, who also designed the car. Also displayed in the lobby, RoboCop's motorcycle. EM-208s were there too. They were the military robots from the new film. And right next to that, in the corner, was one of the Raptor Godzillas from the 1998 movie. And of course, props from Spider-Man, one of Sony's largest franchises. After the studio tours, we were on a mission to find the famous Hollywood sign. It sits at the top of Mount Lee amongst the Santa Monica Mountains, standing at 45 feet tall and 350 feet long. It's been up there since 1923. We drove a good distance to see it, but it was well worth it. It's quite deceiving, though, how close they make it look on TV.
Well, here it is, the famous Hollywood sign.
Some cartoons did have some truth, though.
Hollywood! We're here! Hollywood and Vine, the most enchanting corner in the world! Hello, Holly! Blood? Yuck!
Some of that is accurate, but the streets have cleaned up a little since the 90s. Most of the attractions are standing tall. The traffic is still bad getting there, but there aren't movie stars walking around everywhere for you to see. Just the landmarks. And they're definitely worth seeing. The Chinese Theater looked exactly how I pictured it. Famous names can be spotted across the floor. There's the president of the Academy, Tom Hanks. One day I'd like to go inside and actually see a movie. I mean, come on, Darth Vader sees movies there, right? Wax Museum time.
Mr. Sandman, bring me a dream. Make him the cutest that I've ever seen. Give him two lips like roses and clover. Then tell him that his lonesome nights are over. Sandman, I'm so alone. Don't have nobody to call my own. Please turn on your magic beam. Mr. Sandman, bring me a dream.
Since Suzanne and I love museums, we had to check this one out. Located inside the old Max Factor studio, this collection of Hollywood history dates from the 20s all the way to today. Here's the hat and whip of Indiana Jones, the cup from the Holy Grail, and Pee Wee Herman's famous red bike, my favorite piece from the collection. Props from the Little Rascals were there too, and I love seeing the alien masks from The Last Starfighter. Down the stairs into the basement, they had a whole collection dedicated to classic horror movies. Freddy, Jason, and the best storyteller this side of the grave, the Crypt Keeper. He was definitely getting old. The holding cell of Hannibal Lecter was one of the highlights. Remember what it looked like in the movie? They recreated the entire corridor leading up to his cell. It gave us chills just walking down the halls. Suzanne scored us tickets to see 2 live shows while we were there. We got to see Jim Carrey on Jimmy Kimmel Live. Out of all the guests that could have been on that day, we felt like we got to see one of the best. Carrey was hilarious, which came as no surprise. It also happened to be Jimmy's birthday.
Welcome to America's funniest home videos.
Seeing AFV live was a real treat. It's one of our favorite shows to watch together, and they have one of the best looking sets. This episode was a holiday special.
Tonight, we celebrate Christmas.
They would show us clips to get our real reactions. Suzanne got picked to sit on the front row. She actually got a few close-ups.
If you send in your video and it airs on the show, we'll send you a stylish AFE t-shirt.
They gave us a free t-shirt too for being on the show. Actually, I think I'm wearing it right now. Recognize this mall parking lot? This was the location in Back to the Future where they first tested out time travel. It was shot at the Puente Hills Mall, located in the City of Industry. Not much has changed since 1985, except the JCPenney's has now been replaced with a 24-hour fitness. It's crazy to think that right here is where they once lit this road on fire. Another movie location I had to see while we were in LA was the historic fire station. It's not the outside that's historic. The inside of the station was used for all the interior scenes in Ghostbusters, as well as several other films. Sadly, the firehouse today is locked up and mostly just collecting dust. Another location I've always wanted to see was the hotel where they caught their first ghost. It's located just half a mile up the street from the firehouse on East 5th Street. I had no idea these were so close together.
Alright, behind me is the main entrance to the hotel that was used in the movie. That's when all 3 Ghostbusters walked right in.
Hey, anybody see a ghost?
Several films use this hotel for its wide hallway. It's very easy to pull a large camera crew down the hall.
God bless you! God bless America!
Located in the center of this hallway was where the ballroom was.
Okay, right here is the doorway used in the movie. This used to have 2 doors that opened up.
Those wooden doors have since been removed to create an opening for the main lobby. If you look at these angel sculptures, they serve as great markers to confirm that we're in the same spot.
We'll take care of everything.
The ballroom has had some renovations since the film, but the carvings on the wall and the ceiling glass are the exact same. The skylight looks like it hasn't changed a bit.
Okay, hold him up there. He's gonna move. Hold him up. Go!
I checked out the elevator too. The stone walls and the square checkered doors are the exact same. Visiting the Santa Monica Pier at night was beautiful. It was even prettier than I imagined it. A lot of movies were shot here too. The Magic Castle is also good to see at night. But nothing is more stunning than seeing the city from Griffith Observatory. The lights are absolutely beautiful. The opening scene from The Terminator was shot there. That's another one of my all-time favorites. In 2007, other robots paid it a visit too.
Autobots, roll out! We roll.
Speaking of Transformers, we got to meet Optimus Prime.
Universal Studios Hollywood. Autobots, how many of you have come to decimate the Decepticons?
Since Universal was included in our Go LA pass, we dropped by for a few hours and saw some things we didn't have in Orlando. The studio tour is world famous because it has so much history. They've preserved a lot of props from the movies. They have vehicles, models, all kinds of mechanical characters. The Flash Flood was cool, and we loved getting to see the set from The Grinch. The 3D King Kong exhibit was great too. It was like a mini ride. The effects looked just like the film. A famous street used all the time in movies is Colonial Street. One of my favorite films shot on this street was The Burbs. Tom Hanks stars as a man who becomes increasingly suspicious of his creepy neighbors. This yellow house on the left was the Rumfield's house. You can see in this clip, the house really hasn't changed. The house from Psycho was what I was excited to see the most. It just so happened they were shooting promos for the HBO show Bates Motel while we were there. The tram signs even told us they were currently filming.
As we round the corner here, we have some of the most iconic sets in Hollywood. This is the original house from Psycho.
Remember Waterworld? The movie came out back in 1995 and still has a live-action stunt show to this very day. It's actually a lot of fun. Gunfights, explosions, all the usual elements of a good action show. Here's the space capsule from Apollo 13. And their version of Jurassic Park was almost identical to Universal Orlando. But one thing that the Florida park doesn't have is a studio museum. The original DeLorean from Back to the Future was there. Travel dates still punched on the clock. The stop motion section was great, as well as a sci-fi corner. Seeing the studios was a great way to finish out our time in LA. For a change of scenery, we traveled to the beaches of San Diego. Our first stop there was Balboa Park. If you've seen Citizen Kane, it's the fictional palace of Xanadu in the film. I tried to match up my shot with theirs. We visited a monster museum too. There's a vampire hunting kit, as well as a monster encyclopedia. All the things you would need to study monsters, I guess. And to both our surprise, they had C-3PO, located in their robotics section. It was hard to say goodbye, but we had even more things to see.
You wouldn't want my life to get boring, would you? We're doomed.
Our last day was dedicated to seeing the San Diego Zoo. Suzanne and I have always wanted to go. At the top of our list was seeing the pandas walk around, and we got really lucky to see the koalas actually awake. Did you know they sleep 23 hours out of the day? The California trip has been one of our best vacations. We crammed in a lot of things to see, but it was worth it. Since we love animals, what better way to end off the video than to see some of San Diego's best? We hope you enjoyed the trip almost as much as we did. Until our next vacation, see you then.